Hello everyone. Today I wanted to show you the new Nonogram Solver that I created. For those not familiar with nonograms, they are a type of logic puzzle where sets of numbers are given and you use those to fill out a grid. I just wrote this as an exercise just to see if I could do it. Um, but I thought maybe it would be useful for anyone out there who's struggling to complete maybe some of the more complex nonograms. So without further ado, let's get into its usage. You can download it from my Git repo, which I will put in the description so you can find that below. So I'm running it on Linux right now, but I've also tested it on Windows. Uh, if you notice this looks a little like Windows, it's because I'm running it on my Linux server, but sending the display to Windows. So that's why it might look a little like I'm running on Windows. So let's go to let's go to a 15 by 15 and enter the data for one of the more complex ones I've found in the wild. This one actually stumped me for a couple of hours. So I'm just entering the numbers that I wrote down previously for this one. Shouldn't take too long. Oops. And then I will show you a couple of other features of this as well. There are a few additional features that might not be obvious right now. And this is the back end of it is purely in Python. The front end is a combination of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I did that because it's pretty quick to generate a front end in JavaScript and using style sheets and HTML. And it's fully cross-platform that way. I don't have to rely, for instance, on a user having Qt installed if I was using PyQt. I could have used Kinter, but I honestly don't like the look of it. So HTML seemed like a logical choice. Also, it's something I already knew. I know a few others like WX widgets and GTK, but again, one's kind of bloated and the other would require the user to install a little more. So I was trying to keep this as simple for installation purposes as possible. I figure the less the user has to install, the less that can go wrong. And I seem to have made a mistake in editing. Two, six, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 5, 2. That was my mistake. All right. So just to show you a couple of the features that may not be obvious, if I enter invalid data and click solve, I get an alert and it highlights which one is in error. I was originally going to use a red border around the box, but that would potentially cause issues with colorblind people. I wanted this to be as accessible as possible. Another feature that may not be obvious, you can fill out a partial solution, and this doesn't have any impact on the functioning of the program, but if you got to a stuck place and you want to see where you're wrong, um, this will solve the puzzle for you when you click solve, and any dark patches that flipped, you know that's the wrong one. So if I solve it now, it shows me it's, I don't know, is that a cat maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Whatever it is, it solved it. It tells me up here it took 16 passes. That would really be 15 passes. The 16th one, it goes through an extra pass just to make sure nothing changed between the current pass and the previous one, and that's how it knows that it's done. The reason it does it that way, rather than just verifying that there's a patch of 3 and a patch of 2, for instance, is because if there's some error introduced, or either in the code or in the data entry, relying on these matching these would cause an issue potentially of an endless loop, as it might keep cycling things back and forth or just hang. So relying on a state where it did not change between the previous iteration and the new iteration is the most robust in terms of not just hanging the user's system. Um, so that's about it. You can look at the code on GitHub. If there's any request, I can go over it here in another video, but I figure most people who are interested can actually look at it directly in the source there, or download it and play around with it. If you have any comments, let me know down below. Or if you have any feature requests, I can't really think of anything that this would need added. It does have a max size currently of 30 by 30. Honestly, I've never seen any that go beyond 20 by 20, and every one I've seen has been in a multiple of 5. But if anyone knows of other sizes that are available, I can certainly change that, or you can make a fork and change it. The licensing is also on GitHub, but basically it's free for anyone to use as long as you're not trying to sell it. You can get specific details, though, in the license in the repository. And until next time, take care.